Welcome. I'm Lela Love Lee, known as that in many of my channels, also known as the lifestyle influencer. I am also the queen of side hustles. I often work in my pajamas, and of course I work from home. So today I am working in my kitchen because I am preparing a dinner party for 8, maybe 9, maybe 10 for this Thanksgiving. And I'm taking on a new endeavor that I've never tried before. Cake pops. I know it sounds silly, but I've never had to make so many desserts in such a short amount of time. I've already made 3 pies and working on a banana pudding, and then rocking out these cake pops as my, I guess, parting gift for my guests that join me this Thanksgiving. So if you like what you see or you want to chime in, feel free to do so. This is my first live, and that's kind of intimidating as well because I've got a lot of things going on around me. Plus I'm cooking, so who does live while cooking? I'll be quiet in many aspects just so I could focus on bringing the activities to life, but I will definitely chime in with you so you can see the progress. And because it's my family, I'm not using gloves, but I will be washing my hands a lot. So stay tuned. Feel free to join me and check in as I prepare cake pops. So I have some water boiling in a small pan, and I'm gonna turn it down just a little because I'm going to double boil method to melt the chocolate. I purchased a bark of chocolate. I just finished my cake pop dough with some cupcakes that I created, lemon strawberry, and I'm gonna dip it in chocolate to make cake pops, I guess. So bear with me. Again, this is my first live, so feel free to throw me as many questions as you'd like. It'd be nice to get to know you. All right. First, I don't know if I could have music, so I'm not going to disturb the piece with anyone's release of content or the above. Let me go ahead and chop this into about, I'm going to say 10 to 12 ounces. Start slow, I guess. So I just chopped a piece of the bark, and I'm going to start melting that. Use one of these spatulas to try to keep the melting process going. And I don't know, maybe I should go ahead and start rolling the balls for the cake pops first. All right, so because it's Thanksgiving, I don't have a lot of space. I'll try to be as forward here with you, just so I could also read whatever you post. And I want them all to be even. So I'm using my ice cream scooper. Welcome, thank you for joining me. This should be a quick process. I'm happy to do this live because this gives me a little bit of a chance to get out of my head and stop over organizing for this huge dinner party we're all having Thursday, or most of us, I believe. And I want to be able to make a very impressionable, oh, it's already starting to melt. So I want to be a little different. Let's grab those sticks. Hello everyone that has joined. It's a pleasure to have you here. This is my first live. And if you are joining me, I'm just cooking in my kitchen, preparing one of my desserts as a parting gift for my guest this Thursday. So far, I've created 3 balls. And if you've made cake pops before and you have any tips for me, please throw them at me. I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple of the sticks and go ahead and put those in just in case. I'm ready for the chocolate. It's not melting as fast as I thought, but again, I did lower the temperature on the fire. Okay. I cook a lot and I home bake all the time. And if you follow any of my social platforms, most of my content is about that. So I guess that's something we all have in common. We all eat or like good things or may have very finicky taste buds. Nonetheless, we are in the world of dining together. We might as well discuss a few methods of making life easier and the process daily to run smoother. So the balls are coming out nice. There's, like I said, 8 to 10 guests, so I'm gonna make just enough for everyone because I don't want to have anything left over. Okay, still waiting for this chocolate to melt. How long does that usually take? Does anyone ever experience making cake pops and double boiling for their chocolate to melt? So far, I'll show you what I got. See, it's still a bark. So I'll just keep it there. And then while that melts, I guess I can take these balls and possibly refrigerate them so they can be a little more formed for when I do dip them in the chocolate, right? We'll give that a go. Next on the menu is I'm making a stew. We often make lots of different courses for Thanksgiving, and we don't really treat it like a dinner party in my family, but we do often have like courses, I should say. So it makes it easier to feed everyone and keep the food at a hot enough temperature where we can all eat hot food rather than standing next to a microwave waiting to heat it up. So I'm sure you probably have different traditions in your family, like maybe watching sports during Thanksgiving or the parade. I definitely have a few, and it usually requires all day cooking and forgetting to eat. So that's why I'm cooking 3 days early. I started yesterday, so I can also enjoy the food and the ambiance of hanging out with family. I like to plan games or some sort of activity, and I have adults of all ages and a small baby, so I don't have many options of making it too interactive other than maybe like a trivia style game or something of that nature. So I'm trying to put and wrap my mind around that. Meanwhile, I'm done with this. I'm gonna go ahead and wash. Throw me some questions if you have any. You can ask me anything. I really don't mind. I'm very open. Now, if anything, this TikTok will allow me to at least come out of my shell and be more in your face, since I'm supposed to do all the things, throw those in silent air quotes, that help me gain followers and build more content and get more engagement. I believe I've always had this fear of over connecting, I guess, because I see, and not to compare myself to a celebrity, but so many people on higher levels of fame and recognizably, I guess, any form of recognition, a 15 minutes of fame sort of person. I wouldn't be able to identify anybody in the lineup, but I definitely don't want to be considered like hungry for any sort of attention. This is seriously just about me coming out of my shell, selling a few things that I made or created or built in my stores, and living my life, because I mean, we do it every day. What else are we gonna do, right? I am very happy that they allow for this awesome, beautiful filter. Look at there. I feel so flawless and a lot more comfortable because I don't wear makeup, I don't do my hair, and I don't often wear clothes. But when I do, ooh, I do. But days like this, where I'm home living my trad wife lifestyle initially, with no children, taking care of my awesome boyfriend. We have this May-December relationship, meaning he's 15 years older than I am, but I don't look as old as I actually am. So you can do your research and find that out. Or you might be like, yeah, bitch, you look old. It is what it is. I don't care. I feel that I'm young. I live my life as I'm young. And I take care of myself like I've been here before, because I know the detriments of not being able to. So if you do catch me here, you're probably going to catch me doing something with my plants, building something in the basement for my store and my Poshmark store, selling all of my goodies and marketplace, or even trying to connect with these affiliates to earn commission on items that I already use at home every day. So like if you do see me in the streets one day, you're gonna catch me and you're like, you know what? I recognize her because she's got a freaking phone in her face, not because I follow her. So she must be an influencer or doing something. I don't anticipate people to just know me, even if you are familiar with me. All right, we got the chocolate melting here. Check that out. Can you see? It looks pretty, but I know it's definitely not enough for all these balls, so I want to go ahead and melt some more. But I don't know, is it advised to melt cold chocolate on top of the already warm chocolate, or just use up as much as I can and then make a new batch? Now that's a question. If you know, please answer that. I am doing this for the very first time, and just like this live, this is all purely just spontaneous. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so let's throw these babies in the fridge while I continue melting this, and let's see how smooth it melts, because I think I'm gonna have to take it out earlier than later if it's going to sit on top. Welcome again, everyone who's joined. You're cooking with me. I'm baking and making for the very first time some cake pops. They're from lemon strawberry cupcakes that I created, and I am dipping them in chocolate And I saw something where people made like the little chocolate balls and made them like little turkeys. I think that'll be a cute idea to give away. So I have these sticks and these bags, which I don't think will really work because they have like the Ziploc top. Unless I put them in sideways, I don't really think I can cover them, but I just want to thank them for joining me at my first full Thanksgiving dinner party. And it's mostly guests that I've celebrated other special occasions with. These are my boyfriend's family. They are, as I mentioned, a complete different culture and lifestyle class that I've had experienced. So we have quite adventurous days, I should say. He's working right now, and often I make his lunch around 10:30, and then he'll go back to work. If he can sneak in a little nap because he works very hard, I'll kind of either go downstairs or play the music really low or try to do something on the computer to maximize my time so I could feel like I'm working the same hours he's working, plus making the lunch and dinner and preparing our evening activities, because I like planning date nights. I think it's important to keep your relationship alive by intentionally spending time with your partner. So even though we don't have lots of things in common, we tend to have lots of things in common because we experience so many things together. So I'm gonna skip that refrigerator part. I'm gonna go ahead and try to dip my first cake pop because it looks too good to not try. I'm gonna try one of the little sticks. Here. I'm gonna try one and dip. Just take it and pour it on there like that. It's not like it dips. So, all right, let's take that out. Ooh, that's a lot of chocolate. I don't know. I don't think I've got this down to a science yet. I'll show you what I've got on a stick. Let's put this one there too. Oh, no, that didn't work at all. I think the whole refrigerator part is needed because these are starting to fall apart and turn into cake mix. So before I go any further, whew, that's a lesson quickly learned. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the chocolate until I am ready, fully ready, to dunk these little cake mix pops. Because they're bad. It's real bad. Look at it. Yeah, we can't have that. That'll be an awful gift. Somebody gave me that. I'd be like, girl. No, that's not gonna happen. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. I gotta figure a way to either reform this cake ball or take this out the equation. But I have a backup. Want to see? Let's see. I created already a bunch of cookie dough balls, and those I intended to put in maybe a pack of 3, wrap in parchment, and distribute in these cute little ice cream containers with my little sticker. So that's now what I have as a backup. Giving out the dough, because who doesn't want a little dough? This is gonna work. I'm not gonna fail at something that I completely love. So the best thing we do here is learn and keep it moving. You always have a backup plan. That's how you get things done. All right. So I figured I'd let you get a little sneak peek at some of the desserts I've already prepared. They do need to go in the oven, but I wanted to have them ready so I can do everything at once. Because initially, this type of cooking would be done by multiple people. My mom, my sisters, my cousins, my besties, you know, my girls. But since now I live way out here in the middle of nowhere where I really don't have any of those sources, I do it on my own. So instead of doing it the night before or a couple nights before, we're doing it kind of like a week almost in before, just because I don't have anything for anyone to bring. So let's start off with first dessert. If you like pumpkin pie, you'll love sweet potato pie. And yes, there is a difference. The flavors are similar, but there's something that does not beat. So this is what my sweet potato pie will look like before it goes in the oven. It'll bake up all beautifully golden because I'm cooking them all, as I mentioned, together, trying to maximize my oven usage, wattage, and whatever, because I'm not used to being in a home where we have to consider every detail when it comes to spending money for Thanksgiving dinner. Honestly, I'm used to everyone just putting in a little item of food and bringing it to the table. But I decided to make this whole meal. I'm responsible. Next thing I made, I want you to check this out. And this is a gift because I have a special ingredient that's going to take this up a notch. So last night I made this beautiful homemade, perfectly latticed pecan pie. And if you were able to smell this, you would smell the delicious liqueur flavor seeping through the little lattice entry points. It's perfectly tender right now, so when I do put it in the oven, it's gonna be delicious. And the secret, a lot of people don't tell you, they're like, oh, just some egg wash and put it around the edge, or take foil and wrap it around your pie. No, you take a little, can't even think of the name of it right now. But the food brush. I'm sure it's called food brush. You take the food brush and you swipe a little heavy cream around the edges and around the top of the crust. It makes it perfect. You don't have to worry about adding anything else to your pies. I also made a peach cobbler and a non-alcoholic pecan pie, because again, this is a gift. I wouldn't offer this to my boyfriend's family. This is not the way to go. But you've been keeping me rambling, which is pretty good, because I am home all alone and I would be desperately looking to do something interactive, like maybe play my music in the background or even play with my phone. But no, I'm staying focused on this activity because now it's time to make a really good soup. So if you're still gonna join me and hang out with me, get ready for my special Thanksgiving soup. All right. All right, for the soup, first I'm gonna start off with one of my pre-made, because it's my soup. I've made two. I've had them frozen, ready. And these are my broth mixes. Now, my marinade broth mixes already have my vegetables, my seasonings, everything already. Just melt me down, throw in some fresh ingredients and call it a day. But I'm going to make a couple of things. So I want to keep those mixes separate and get ready to start all the vegetable process that goes in first before, because meat, of course, with seafood is going to be a lot quicker to cook. We want to get those babies really deeply marinated in the flavors. So when we add the meats, it's just like puffs into flavor, puffs into life, and melts in your mouth. Again, this is my first TikTok. I am happy to be here with you, but I don't know really if I'm just going to just hang out here or try to maximize my time focused on cooking. So if you have anything to say, feel free to do so. I'd love to answer your questions. I'd love to connect with you and get any of your advice, since I am asking lots of questions. All right, let's get ready for this. So let's put this chopper aside. I have this pot with both of those marinades: sausage, shrimp, whitefish, crab, salmon, and codfish. Now the codfish I'm going to make separate with some special spices, so I could make like fish patties. Let's say like an appetizer. They're going to be on more of a tangy and spicy flavor kick. Then the seafood stew I'm using everything else for. So then of course I've got carrots and celery and garlic and all of the fun starters, vegetables, peppers and onions to get that going. So let's go ahead and start boiling up some marinades. Okay. I'm gonna put it like on a medium. I'm gonna start with my red marinade because that's going to be for my fish cakes. All right, one thing about my cooking, I reuse my scraps for making things like my broths or any of my bigger meals that I'm gonna need for later, so I can put in containers any stock that I get from any of the meats or any of the vegetables, so I can put those aside for something else. So this is going to be heavily seafood seasoned because these are bases of chicken broth and vegetable stock that I built in these two marinades. So my ADD kicking in, I'm gonna first just get this pot all heated up and get some oil and vegetables simmering and smelling up the spot. So then I could add what I'm ready to add next. So let's go for it. Here are my ingredients. Grapeseed oil, it burns a little faster, but it's much better for your vegetables, in my opinion, than doing the olive. This is just an opinion for those who are very strict on using their olive oil. I have olive too. But when I'm ready to make soups and stews and braised beefs and things of that nature, I use my grapeseed oil. I want a higher temperature of oil that could really break down my vegetables a lot better. So over here, I've got my fresh carrots, celery, parsley, and some green onion. I'm gonna wash everything and get that ready because this is already starting to melt. Anytime I make a meal and I have leftover vegetables, I chop them up and I freeze them. Or I separate them for future use. And I like having lots of vegetables on hand. So when I say preparing my basement, I also have my dried and dehydrated fruits and vegetables and seasonings that I had to make myself throughout the year, which is a lot of work. So you'll often see me, again, in plant world, trying to learn as much as I can about gardening and growing my own fruits and vegetables, because now I have the space and soon I'll have the capability. I do live in a region of the United States where we don't get full use of the sun, but with a greenhouse and a couple of tweaking with my gardening skills, I think I can grow a really nice garden of essentials that I need throughout the year, including tomatoes, potatoes, ginger, garlic, onions, carrots, radish, peppers, and then all my herbs. So I'm trying to minimize the things that I buy by creating them at home and hopefully utilizing them in my annual eating and food budget. Because again, I come from a different cultural background, and my family often has a lot of, I would say, influence on the way I bring my love and care into others. So I am big on taking care of people, big on nurturing, but I'm also quite skeptical of myself. I want to be certain I'm doing what is necessary and I'm not overstepping anyone's boundaries, because I can be much, as I was told. I could be a little much. All right, if you can smell those delicious flavors. It's just the basics of my veggies. This is, if you can smell this, pure garlic water I make with just garlic. And if I want my flowers to bud, I'll add a teaspoon to the soil, maybe once every 2 weeks. But I keep things like that around so it's easier to cook with. Let that keep going. I also hear myself saying also a lot. I want to learn how to do the basics like making butters. So that's why I bought this heavy cream to test out my experiment if I could save money and time making my own butter, because I use a lot of it in most of my recipes. And daily we have a maybe English muffin or something light like toast and butter and jam. Something simple is kind of like our go-to, so it's kind of essential to have as one of those key things to be able to make on my own. All right, I've been talking a lot. I'm glad you've been paying attention and you're sticking around. I'm gonna go ahead and put this cheese away and get this topped off with a few more vegetables. And we're gonna start the stew. I'm not using a lot of anything because, again, this is just one of the meals for the course of, I guess, 5 to 8 courses for the dinner. So my real main objective is to have a variety of things that everyone can taste. They don't necessarily have to have a big plate of, mashed potatoes and gravy heaping with turkey. And no, you can just have little bits of everything and then kind of have like a Thanksgiving charcuterie. I know I'm saying that wrong, but it feels right. Alrighty, I've got my veggies. I'm going to use about 2 stalks of wild onion. Because again, I'm making 2 dishes at once. I'm also making a fish patty appetizer. So again, light, small things so people can try. I wish you can smell this. It smells so good. And that's just the vegetables. Got some fresh parsley I'm gonna chop up. Of course, some carrots and celery. Again, if you have any questions, throw them my way. I would love to have something to talk about other than myself and kind of get a little bit more of your incentives. Thank you for the roses. That's awesome. My first rose. Well, not today. My first official online rose. Thank you again for Frenchie Eve 174, your doll. Hopefully you're having a wonderful holiday and you're in a good spirit because we're cooking up over here. And I'm happy to just ramble along if you'd like me to. But I know how lonely it can feel in the kitchen and you just want to scroll on your phone and see something enticing and interesting and there's literally the same thing going on. So hopefully we're doing something different. All right, so I've got this cutting board because this is what I cut my light veggies on, like parsley and wild onions. We don't really need much over here. I do separate my cutting boards. We have meat and seafood. We also have breads, so we don't kind of cross-contaminate no matter how much Dawn dish liquid you use. I just don't trust the idea of my foods kind of sharing a bed, in other words. I mean, kinds of show how I feel about lots of things. Sharing beds. I don't think lots of things should be in your bed. But that's my opinion. You do what you want. All right. Again, I got to go over and beat the heck out of these vegetables with a good wash bath. So I'm going to just separate what I'm using for now and take my butt over to the sink with my back towards you for a bit, so you can use this time to think of, let me ask her some questions. Maybe she has something that I've been looking for and I haven't had the chance to ask yet. Go ahead, take your time. I'm not gonna watch. I close my eyes. Ooh, close my eyes. And you're gonna see that I'm out your way. Mwah. There's my auntie cousin. Closing my eyes. Go ahead and ask Quay. I'm going to the kitchen sink now. All right. See you in a second. Splish splash, every turn on brown. All about a Saturday night. All right. Time to cut the vegetables. All right, here comes the most fragrant part. Getting ready to add that directly to the mix. Ooh. Again, mwah. My lioness, my auntie cousin, Charlie B. What's your name here? My sweet love, I love you so much. Thank you for joining me. All right, I just added that to the pot. I'm gonna cover that for a bit. Let those aromas kind of like tell me when to add the next item, because I really don't have a timing process or a measuring process. Yes, I'm one of those types of chefs. I call myself a kitchen chef, a home chef, or whatever you want, but I break everything down in the time that I have between things. I don't know if that's like an ADHD thing or that's just, I don't know. I have no idea. Nonetheless, I get things done, and I get a lot of things done. So I'm just going to kind of reassess what I got going on here. I'm going to start a cream roux, which means some butter, some flour, some heavy cream. Mix that baby up, make it turn into a paste, and add some of my homemade broth and stock. Loosen it up a little bit to make it like this home gravy, and then start to add my wilted vegetables like spinach and get all of those things going. Fresh potatoes, get all of those things going. And then, of course, all of my seasoned seafood. So let's start to make the seasoned seafood. Keep this going, keep this low, because again, I don't know how long it's gonna take. I just know what it smells like when it's ready. I should look at the time, but I don't know. Things happen in between times. So maybe you can keep time. We have andouille. You saw the shrimp. They're right now just defrosting, getting ready to have their butts exposed as I clean those guys out. Then I have the whitefish, the salmon, the crab meat, and I think that's it. Yeah, I wish I had more things, but I didn't really prepare to make this soup. I just knew that I needed to have something seafood during this holiday season, because you'll get a chance to go and visit my blog and my new post, but I had a chance to go visit Plymouth, Massachusetts, and of course we all know that's where they say the Pilgrims landed and discovered this little settlement area that they can call their own home. But meanwhile, you know, some Native Americans was living there already, and they were like, you know what, let's share some food, let's have a meal, let's discuss some, you know, politics, and then everybody was slaughtered. However, nobody wants to tell that story. I don't go around telling that story to scare my white boyfriend and his family, because I already know, they already think that, you know, this whole view of the hot Aunt Jemima thing I got going on is definitely not what I bring to the table. There's lots going on behind this head of mine. So this is just the visual for this portion of my process, which is the cooking. No one gets to see this. That means you're super duper freaking special in my kitchen while I'm in my jammies doing my thing like I would normally do. Back to what I was saying. So this whole spirit of the holidays have kind of lost what types of meals we bring to the table or what we share. And since people forgot you did come on a ship, I'm pretty sure there was some seafood at this party. No one shows it in the pictures. There were boats made out of whole trees. It wasn't just rabbit stew, which by the way is delicious. Get with the program. So let's bring things that sort of honor the tradition of what this holiday is. You know, I don't even think there are any turkeys in Plymouth, but I don't know. They must have brought them. I don't know where these turkeys came from, but somehow turkey got on the menu. So my turkey is going to be off the hook. It's going to take me about an hour and a half, 2 hours tops to cook it. And I'm cooking it nice and low. You'll be surprised. That's coming up in my next story. All right. It's starting to smell like it needs some spinach. All right. One thing I do a lot is I lose utensils. So I end up grabbing something new. All right. It smells good, but it's not ready. It still needs to wilt a little more. Meanwhile, let's cut up some sausage. All right, I'm back. I know. That shouldn't have been too long. All right. My meat knife. I took about, I'm gonna say whatever 5 credits in high school would be of home economics. I don't know, is that a few months? A few months of economics, of home economics. And one thing I learned was about the proper way to cut things. So I've used that in pretty much all of my dining and cooking. So you'll see me looking all prissy with my fork and knife, properly cutting my steak or whatever. It's because I know how to use my utensils. All right. So let's talk about something else that's quite interesting. So as a lifestyle influencer, me, what I do is influence consumer buying habits based on my experiences. I write reviews for Google. I sell items on Shopify. I am an affiliate of your favorite boo, Temu, and Amazon, and all of the other privatized affiliates that connect you with your bigger brands like Kohl's, so like CJ affiliates and Pepper Jam and all of the above. What I do is I connect these companies to your buying habits by showing you things that I create and just the lifestyle of how I use them. One of my recent experiences, boyfriend and I visited South Carolina and had a chance to take a day trip to Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia. What's in Savannah, Georgia, you ask? Well, it's considered an acropolis. What that means is based on the square footage of the area where there's any land that you can step on is pretty much the land soiled of blood of someone who has been killed. Oops, am I not allowed to say that word? Who has been, let me think of my words real wise. I don't want to get in any trouble. Who has been highly affected by the established efforts of the Europeans' settlements. So they decided to make this now an American, I guess, historic land sites. So you get a chance to visit the land where, I'm going to say the land that is now lost. The land of the lost. I'm not really good at telling the story. What I'm better at doing is writing it out based on that moment, which I already did in my blog, and showing you photos of what I did, which I took, which is also in my blog. So, as I recap in my head, it doesn't come off as authentic as I'd like because the experience once lived was a lot different than retold. I saw a ghost, y'all. I don't care what you say. I saw a ghost. And if you zoom into the photo of what I have taken and added to my post, you will also see there's a ghost staring out the window. All right. Before I creep out a little too much, the situation of the backstory is we were on a trolley tour through Savannah, and we were stopping at one of the more legendary sites, which was called the Pirate's House. And it was right next door to what is considered the oldest house in Savannah. The oldest, meaning the first one built. Okay. Year, not quite sure. But everything was still, in my head, not from what I can see anyway. Not like a revision. It was like an authentic actual site. Even clearly said. Just taking a video. So, ooh, look at me, a tourist driving by in a trolley. I could see everything from this side. In my head. Driving by, just take a video. I go back later to check out the photos and the videos so I could try to do some sort of organizing them for potential posts, because I wasn't sure what I would actually post about. Would it be my adventure? Would it be the experience? Would it be, I don't know, the Bay date aspect of it all? Because our museum trips and our experiences are usually sort of premised as a date, and we make it a ADD kicked in. It smells about ready. Yeah, buddy. All right, layer one. So yes, this Bay date, we were able to take it in a day, driving from South Carolina, we were in Charleston or near Charleston, up to Savannah, Georgia, and get a chance to check out the museums and the different experiences. So I'll get back to that story. You should. Smells so good. And the trick is you want to make sure that the crisp vegetables still remain crisp and the hard vegetables remain hard. So let's add the spinach, and I'm gonna go ahead and start my roux. I'll be right back with you. 1 second. Time for roux. Roux who? Roux you. All right. Let me turn that down just a little bit more. I hope you're all having a wonderful Tuesday. It is only Tuesday, right? Hopefully most of you are off for the week and you get to enjoy your friends and family and a little bit of vacation time for travel or whatever you need to do to spend that time with your friends and family. I myself, I'm cooking for up to 10 people. Yeah, up to 10. And the guests are usually dinner, dessert, and go type people. Not this year. Yes, I am doing something really different. I am going to pull out my games, my scavenger hunts, my craft station, my appetizer station, my try this, don't eat quite yet station, and hopefully they'll be here for 2 to 3 hours before we actually have dinner. They anticipate eating dinner at 2. I anticipate eating dinner at 4:35. Freaky, pushing it, pushing it. All right, I know, it's kind of crazy too, because thinking about it, they would have been overwhelmed. 90 minutes out, really, with anybody could be crazy, but when you spend it with me, you're gonna feel it. Oh no, we about to end? We don't want to end yet. I didn't even think it'd be here this long. So it looks like I set a timer on my live, and with that said, I might be ending. And if that's the case, this was fun. I definitely got to do this again, especially if I get to talk to you, Auntie Cuzzo. Mwah. To all of you, just in case we kind of like cut off too early. But I know I was talking about something. I did lose my train of thought because I got totally interrupted by this. We about to close our live down. I see these flashes above me. Live goal. I don't have a goal. I just came here to try this for the first time. And if you think it was okay, go ahead and subscribe so I can do it again. Because we can do this often. We can do this not just on a weekday. We can do this every weekend, all right? Is that all right with you? Yeah? Keep cooking. I love it when you call me Big Mama. All right, let me stop. Here I go into my zones again. So if we do, it was a pleasure having you here. And if not, fine, throw me something. Ask me a question. I would love to hear any engagement from you because I do tend to ramble and I'm good at that. I'm real good at that. All right. Again, I'm about to work it, y'all. Make my brew for my soup and work it, y'all. Add this butter and then add a little flour. Work. All right, let me chill. I'm gonna estimate this is about 2 tablespoons of butter. Despite popular belief, I do have lots of things everywhere. I often don't cook with things surrounded, but I need certain spices, certain ingredients sort of right on hand, and I hate to just lose them in the middle of the process right when I'm starting. So that's why you'll see me kind of like looking scattered all over the place. Bingo. Touching the pan, not hot enough. I want the pan to be hot enough to burn my fingertips. You see how they're just glazed? They're not burnt yet. And after I make the roux, throw that into this big pot, get everything kind of like flavor gasming together. Then I'll add the meats, or as you guys would say, the protein. I'll leave that. All right, it's 1:30. I've been at this for about an hour and a half, I feel like, but it told me it soon will be shutting me down. So with that said, how do I plan out these as shows? How do I plan this as, next time I go live, I'm gonna do this, or next time I go live, I should go this direction? Because this is just a very small portion of my day. This is just my normal cooking schedule, but I am not making my normal cooking menu, so it is a little more chaotic in here. However, I do cook 2 to 3 times a day, and I prepare my meals for the next day or for the week. So again, I could work from home, my man can go to work, and he could have actual meals, and we can save on going out and bring our budget back to normal, so I can spend it on things like electricity. It's gonna be spent somewhere, right? All right, that sounds like that's about hot. You hear it? Time for butter. With that said, I'm gonna take a nice dollop of flour. What would you consider this? A tablespoon, teaspoon? I call it a dollop. Throw that right on the center. Grab my whisk. Whisk, where did it go? I know that was a corny mom joke. All right, taking this butter, and I pretty much bathe around it. Then I start to add in the flour till it's this fun powdery look. Yesterday I made some buttermilk, so I add a little bit of buttermilk. this way down. All right, add my broth. Get it to look like a gravy. Then add the big boy. About a fourth a cup. Or that much. All right, now let's season this roux up. Heavy season because I want it to have a little spice. Cayenne, because Kai not. Ha ha ha. Time to pull out the heavy artillery. Step stool. And more spice. A little bit more vegetable broth. I'll show you what I got, what I'm working with here. All right. That looks delish. My mids. I'll put that in the sink because I could reuse most of these bags, but I have to wash them. All right. A little ground ginger. Okay, a lot. That was like 10 sprinkles, right? All right. Let that chill for a second. All right, let that chill for a second. It's time to start making the big boys. So that would be the fish, the shrimp, the crab, etc. I'm gonna sit this top on this pot a while, put that back on medium. Got a couple of cutting boards I need to rinse off here. And got a few messes all around me. You don't see it, but I'm like all over the place with like bags and sticks. Hold on. Plus, I'm hungry, so I made some chicken parmesan lasagna for me for lunch. Yes, I gotta eat too. I can't just sit here and under all these smells, I start to starve. Like, life is hurting. All right, since this roux is starting to bubble, we stir a little more. Okay. And I can start putting away some of these vegetables. All right. All right, I'm back. So, thank you for following or subscribing or joining or whatever we're doing here. This is still my very first TikTok live. I have items in my TikTok shop, but they don't have anything really to do with what I'm doing right now. So I'm not here throwing you a bunch of advertisements on what you should buy. Simply, I'm just cooking because I'm preparing, like most all of you, for holidays with your family and friends. And I can imagine with times being exactly what they are, certain people may not take it as lightly as others. Some might find it to be a little more, I don't know, energy draining. I love my family. I love everyone in my family. I actually have a dope family. I just don't have one of those families that really care about, I don't know if it's generational growth or just actually reestablishing traditions. I take it they think everything is sort of like outdated. So there's lots of things that aren't getting done. Like, we should have a family reunion. We should have ways to discuss our ancestors and people we've lost along the way without it just being during their funeral or during their birthday. And honor them and share with our children who they are and what they did, where they worked, how they lived. Visiting South Carolina did give me one huge perspective. I visited the African American Museum, and there was this genealogy computer that gave me the ability to look up my grandmother, my mother's side of the family, my maternal grandmother, and her ancestors. And the way it's broken down and what I learned was pretty astonishing. First, I found out that the way that they recorded our birth records and our deeds and land records was broken down through classism. And classism back then wasn't really about being black or white or whatever. It was about either being rich or poor and what land was owed or what land was owned. And from what I understood during their big census gathering, whatever, that's when they introduced the races. And if you own land, you're white. And if you don't, you're black. And if you're Native American, it's hit or miss depending on what was left to you. And because my maternal grandmother was somewhat like an illegitimate child in her family, things weren't able to be passed along to her side. She did have a brother, and she did have relatives that were able to claim, but with those days and women owning so little, there was no way to prove, I guess. So the information that I was seeking in South Carolina pretty much led me back to my hometown in Franklin, Mass, at my library, which so happens to have a more updated genealogy computer that mocks and documents all of the Native Americans. So when I get a chance, I have to take a trip over there just so I could really see what and where and when and how and who we are, right? We all want to know who we are. My father's side of the family, however, might be more of a mystery because I am unable to gather that sort of information. But I'm already halfway there, so I'm staying very positive about how I honor my family, not expose their secrets, and I don't know, be just as valuable of a future ancestor to the youth that they were to us. So that's what I have to say about that. That's all I have to say about that. All right, this roux is perfect. It's a perfect color. It looks like gravy. What I have going on in this pot, smells delectable. All right. I'll keep that going because again, it's time to make the proteins. I'm being the hold music. Okay. Alright, this is for veggies, so let's rinse this and put this in the dishwasher. All right, I just checked on my shrimp inventory and it looks like I have about like 12 shrimp. That's fine because again, this is seafood. I need to cook everything in advance anyway. So the shrimp will go in last. I'm gonna make the fish, salmon, and I'll put the crab and the shrimp in after I make those and pull this all together. Also, since this is a course for Thursday, my intention is to keep it marinating in the refrigerator for, overnight. And when I put it on first thing in the morning on Thursday, keep it at simmer and then let the rest of the the rest of what I'm putting into it happen at that time. So by then I might have add some lobster, some squid, some calamari, some, I don't know, whatever I end up grabbing at the store, because I got to take one more trip before I'm satisfied with my menu and its ingredients. So if you were here earlier, you probably saw me make a disaster of those cake pops. I'm gonna go check the, oh, wait a minute. Turn this off first before I do anything. All right, so this was the roux that I had making earlier that will go inside the soup. And again, what I was mentioning is I was trying to make my first set of cake pops earlier. So I still have on the stove a pot full of chocolate and some cake pops I'm hoping would be firm by now. So I'm gonna go check on those. Okay, so this is the disaster the first cake pop turned out to being. Oh, I can't even lift it. It's a mess. Thanks for coming to my dinner party. Could you imagine? So I'm gonna work on that just a little more this afternoon, but I'm gonna wait till after I'm done making this soup because I want these to be nice and firm before I give this another go, because that was embarrassing. All right. Fish is already defrosted. Sausage already cut up, and roux is already roux-ing. So I'm trying to determine what I should make next. All right. This starter marinade looks delicious. I'll let you peek at it. Woo, I don't know if you can. It's got all the goodies in it. I'll keep that going. I definitely don't want to use another pan, so I'm just going to wait to make the meats until after everything else is done. Honestly, it should be the last thing done regardless to keep it the most tender and juicy at the end. Initially, I could just make this whole pot with vegetables and put the meat in Thursday morning, right? I don't necessarily have to do that, but I want it to kind of capture all the flavors and just like settle in and make its way into, you know, Flavor Town. So I got some things I have to think about. With that said, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and eat my lunch because it's 2 o'clock. I like to eat late so then when I make a dinner, I don't eat again. And the boyfriend and I could kind of manage our meals together without me doing too much work in the kitchen. Besides, I do all the cooking, he does all the cleaning, so you can imagine he doesn't want to come home to a really messy kitchen. Nonetheless, got this delicious piece of chicken lasagna that I made. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my meal on. I appreciate you for tuning in and joining me, hooking me up with those roses, and your acknowledgement means the world to me. This is my first live, so the test went well. I would assume there's been a few eyes on this page and hopefully it kind of reruns. Maybe not. I'm not certain how these things work, but I'm happy to be a part of it. Until next time, it's your girl Lela Love Lee. Thank you for helping me with this beautiful filter. Look, looks like I got a face full of makeup and a damn thing on my face. I am glowing. All right, on that note, I'm also going. Until next time, everyone, you guys all take care. Now bear with me because I've never been live, so I wouldn't know how to turn this off. Oh,